Hey travelers, were you looking for a reason to be angry just after Christmas? Well, some YouTubers are making sure to provide a way.
That extra seat for the fat passenger ended up being yours, and now you're kicked off your holiday flight.
Recently, the New York Post did an article about TikTokers talking about the Southwest customer of size policy, and this led to a stream of media and YouTubers reacting to it. There were several reactions to this, but I'm going to focus on two of them. Amala Ekpunobi, who formerly was with PragerU and is now doing her own thing, is independent. And Brett Cooper, you may know her as the female Ben Shapiro. She's also over at Daily Wire. And I was recently on Daily Wire on their morning podcast show talking about just this thing. Now, I've got a lot of thoughts on the topic of Southwest customer of size policy because I've been a pretty big promoter of it. I'm going to dive into what they said and my response to it as someone that helps plus-size travelers feel comfortable getting out of their house and going and traveling. Let's dive into their thoughts.
Well, with Southwest Airlines' newest customer of size policy, this may be exactly what happens on your next Southwest flight.
So we are starting off with bad information because this is not a new policy. Thankfully, Brett Cooper or her producers seemed to dive in a little bit.
So I thought perhaps, maybe that TikToker's petition really did work. I kind of had a upside down Twilight Zone moment where I was thinking, did a change.org petition from a TikToker really work? Did it actually make Southwest Airlines change their policies? But after some further digging, I learned that Southwest's policy has actually been in place for many years, literally 30 years. But it's just this week that the masses have actually learned about its existence.
Now, this is a very important distinction because this policy has been in place for decades and no one has had a problem with it. But suddenly, well, we just found out about it, so now we have to not only get angry about it, we have to get everyone else angry about it, and they have to comment on it, and they have to try to shut it down because this is awful, this is terrible, oh no! That's an exaggeration of what they're doing, but it's not an exaggeration of what people in the comments do.
Somebody said, can I use this for more space even when I'm not fat? What's the criteria for who they give this to?
Do you go over into the other seat? That's the policy. Now, that is not an exact thing, I get that, but pretty much do you infringe on someone else's seat if they were sitting right beside you? Ultimately, the policy is not about your comfort, it's about other people's comfort.
Now, we're no strangers to talking about the body positivity and fat acceptance movement on this channel. You know how I feel about it. It's okay to be comfortable with your body and where you're at, but we also shouldn't say that there is health at any size or that fat is particularly healthy.
Now, the challenge is, and the reason they're able to make content and get people angry about this, is that it is something that has been pushed into a cultural narrative of body positivity and other stuff that I personally don't support in the sense that body positivity is taken today, the health at all sizes and everything like that. I think if you're fat, it's probably your fault. Yes, there's other things. We have a societal thing. We have cultural things. There's federal government subsidizing bad food. All kinds of things go into it, but typically we are responsible for it most of the time. And it's not healthy. There are things we should try to lose weight. We should try to be healthier, and nobody owes you anything.
You are entitled to comfort. You do not need to force yourself to fit into things. Traveling should be fun and comfortable. For reference, I'm a size 24 to 26 and 300 pounds. Who says that you are entitled to comfort? None of us are entitled to comfort. That sounds harsh. It is harsh, but comfort and fun is not a right.
There is a sense of entitlement that people have brought into this as though somehow fat people are victims or entitled, and I do not buy into that. I don't buy into any victimhood or entitlement, because if you do that, then you are saying that somebody else owes you something or that somebody else is responsible for your life. If somebody else is responsible for your life, then you are not in control of your life. And if you're not in control of your life, then you can't do anything about it. You just have to go with the whims of everybody else. That is not who I am. I am me. I am in control of my life. I am in control of this body. That means I have to take the L's and I get to take the W's.
If comfort was a right, we would all be flying first class. Are you kidding me? We would all be on private jets if comfort was a right. But sitting squished together in basic economy on a budget airline is not a comfortable experience for anyone. You are not alone in that whatsoever. If you want the comfort, you have to pay for it. It is that simple. That is what everybody in the world has to do.
I mentioned before that a few months ago, I was on the Daily Wire Morning Wire podcast talking about the petition for making the FAA required to provide extra seats. I am deeply against that. I do not believe that is a proper role of government in any way to do that. You are not entitled to an extra seat or to be comfortable. You're not. That requires someone else's actions, and you're not required to the actions of another person. But I also promoted the Southwest Customer of Size program. Why? Because it's a free market solution and marketing campaign to a problem. If I go and sit beside somebody, first off, we don't know how big a seat is. Airplane seats range from about 16 and a half inches to 21 inches in width. That's a big range. And they, as we know, they've gotten smaller over the years as people have gotten bigger. One of the comments was,
and at what point do we stop? As the years go by and obesity goes higher and higher and higher, are our airplanes just meant to continue expanding? Instead of 3-person rows, will we now put only 2 seats in the rows to accommodate this larger American society and ignore the fact that we are increasingly becoming unhealthy? In the case of Southwest Airlines, that may be exactly what happens.
And it used to be how it was. There used to be only 2 seats. There used to be more space. But we lowered the prices. We wanted, if you've seen the pictures of flying from in the 50s where everybody's in suits and it's this big deal. That was also a very expensive flight. That was about $4,000 in some cases in today's money. We wanted to make that flying more accessible, so they shrunk the seats, they put more in there, and they took all that stuff away. If you still want to pay $4,000 for a flight, you can get some of that stuff. But Southwest took this as a marketing campaign to make everybody more comfortable. It makes bigger people more comfortable. It makes people that are sitting near them more comfortable. It really works for everyone. And typically, they are not losing money. So what's supposed to happen is that you buy an extra ticket, or you can buy your ticket and call them, and they'll refund you for that second ticket. That's how it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to take someone else's seat. And I talked to a flight attendant for Southwest, and she says that is not what is supposed to happen. Now, has that possibly happened before because somebody did that? Because somebody made a mistake or misunderstood what the rules are supposed to be? That's a possibility. It's not supposed to happen according to this flight attendant. And if it does happen, that I disagree with. And that is where I will be completely with Brett and Amala on this, is that I should not go to a place, to a flight, and I be able to remove someone else for a flight because I did not properly plan ahead. That is absolutely correct. If that was the policy, and my understanding it is not the policy, I am in complete agreement on. We have to take responsibility for planning properly. Again, now it is difficult to plan properly because you don't know how big the seats are going to be. Southwest was supposed to have some of the biggest seats. They said this years ago. They were going to have some of the widest seats out there. That didn't fully come into effect based on the research I've been able to do. They have middle of the road seats. But they have this policy in place. Now, when I fly, most of the time, most people that fly don't fly alone. They have people that fly with them. So they're able to, you're not only getting my seat when you do that, you're getting the seats of other people. You're getting, it's a positive marketing campaign. Now, Brett, I believe, said that when she flies, it's a full flight. It's packed in like sardines. I would say 80% of the flights I take, now it depends on the flight you're taking. When I fly early morning, late at night, they're not full. It has no effect on anyone else because they could still sell that seat, but they're able to sell more seats because of that, because they are marketing and have a system in place for specific people. And if you're skinny, you should be glad they have that in place too, because you're less likely on a Southwest flight to get stuck. They are able to sell more seats by having a marketing campaign and making more people more comfortable by doing this. So saying that it's going to raise other people's costs doesn't make a lot of sense. Yes, there may be 1% of flights where they lose one seat that they can market to. But all the other flights, they are selling more because that's called a marketing campaign. Essentially, it's a loss leader for Southwest by losing that one seat and being able to sell all the others. Now, one of the big things that they talk about in these videos is how this is accommodating or making it easier for people to be fat. If not accommodating fat people was a reality, I'd be skinny and straight. But it ain't real. That's not the reality we live in. I grew up in the 90s. Trust me, I've had wide load written on my back. I was bullied plenty in high school, in elementary school, and all throughout. Didn't work. Still a fat ass. As a matter of fact, what it typically does, if you think you can't go anywhere, if you're not accommodated, if you can't get out of your house, you go into more of a depression, you eat more, it becomes more of a cycle, you view yourself as less, and then you end up gaining more weight. Part of the reason I created this channel, part of the reason I do fat tested travel is so that people get out and go and they travel and they explore and they have a bigger view for their life. Because look, I'm still fat, but I've lost about 50 pounds so far, and I'm going to lose more. I'm still on a journey to lose more. I go out to theme parks daily. You know how much I walk at a theme park? People like comment, "Oh, go get on a treadmill, go fat test a treadmill." I promise you, I am walking more because I go to a theme park than I would on a treadmill. I want people to go out and travel. I want them to have a bigger sense of their life. I want them to see themselves, to have a positive outlook that they can do more. And yeah, there's always going to be things you can't do. And I'm going to fight for things to be a little bit more accommodating, not at the expense of others, but so that more people can go and do those things. Because when you do certain things, there's going to be more that you want to do. One of the things that I've loved doing is being able to go back to rides that I couldn't fit on the first time and now be able to fit on. That's a lot of fun, and that's it's an encouragement to do more, to lose more weight. At the same time, being able to encourage theme parks and flights and others that to have certain other accommodations. It's a marketing business. Ultimately, that's where we are as a society. Have a free market solution. If 50% of people are going to be obese by 2030, first off, that's a travesty. We should be working against that. I'm working on myself. But if that's going to be, then look, do you want to not be able to accommodate 50% of the people, or do you want to figure out accommodations? Do you want to be able to figure out solutions? And just being able to say, "Oh no, we're not going to accommodate you," is not actually making people lose weight. My message to my audience is the same as it always is. You are worthy, you were made, you were created by a loving God, and I want you to go out and have a bigger vision for your life. I want you to, your body matters. You should matter. You should go out, be as healthy as you can. Join me as I'm continuing to have a great life, having fun, and slowly on a journey to lose more weight and slowly become healthier. I want you on that journey with me. And if you're happy where you're at, you don't want to do, that's great. Hey, I'm here. I hope that the content helps you. But I'm telling you where I'm headed. This ultimately will be fit, tested travel. But life is a journey, and I'm not there yet. And most of you that are watching this aren't there yet either. Don't let other people get you down. Don't let other people, all the judging eyes. Look, I would love to say there's no judgment out there. There's nobody that's ever paying attention to you. I've been on a flight, and whether it's Southwest or somewhere else, I promise you, there's people, I know that look. It's like, "Oh, don't sit by me." I like looking at them and go, "I'm going to sit right there by you." Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't do that because I don't want to be those people. They're not happy. I'm not happy. Actually, I'm usually happy because I'm just like, whatever. But go out and live your life, whatever size you are. Live it to the fullest. And I'll see you in the next one.